Hi, I'm Paul Guppy, Vice President for the Washington Policy Center, and this is our regular update that we send out to our top supporters and our members all across Washington State, telling them what issues we've been working on and what is going on with the organization. And so, again, as in my last report, this is supposedly supposed to be like slow summertime in the policy world, but of course, for us, that is not the case. So our researchers have been very busy, very engaged with media, and what I'll do today is touch on just 3 or 4 of the issues we're working on, and then look ahead to what we see coming up next. So the first issue is, again, even though it's summertime, kids are supposed to be out of school, and yet the education issue never completely calms down. There's plenty of controversy regarding CRT, regarding funding, regarding whether schools are going to reopen on time. And our research expert, Lee Finna, is on top of this, and she has ferreted out a controversy in the Kent School District, which is the 4th largest district in the state, and or one of the largest rather, in which the union has decided that school is not going to open on time. And this is the #1 thing that parents in the Kent area want. They, after COVID, after restrictions, after schools being closed for nearly 2 years, and by the way, that was only public schools. Private schools and charter schools had opened much earlier. So if you're a parent in a with kids in public school, what you want is for your kid to be able to catch up in education, make up that learning loss if that's possible, and get back on track on time. The union leaders in Kent have announced that that's not going to happen. They are calling the union out on strike, and so Kent schools will not open on time. Lee broke this story, and suddenly media was all over the place. So she did a number of radio interviews about that yesterday or earlier in the week, and is continuing to cover that issue. What's stunning to us is that any powerful entity in the state would resist the normal opening of public schools in a safe way. The vast majority of schools in the state are now back on track with health standards in place. But in Kent, that's not going to happen. And so we're going to continue to put the emphasis on that. What we don't want to happen is for local unions all across Washington state to begin to take the same tactic, trying to negotiate for higher pay. As Lee points out in her data, the average teacher pay in Kent is $125,000. So most public school teachers make more money than the working families who pay their salaries and pay taxes. So the union is continuing to push for more benefits and more money, but there isn't any educational reason to close the school. And that's why we're focusing on this issue so much. The next thing we're looking at is, I got excited because I saw a post that our budget expert, Jason Mercier, put up that said, Governor calls special session to enact tax relief. And I thought, finally, in Washington state, we are going to join virtually every other state in enacting some kind of tax relief under Governor Inslee. And then I looked a little closer, and it turns out that Jason was writing about Idaho. So the Idaho governor has called a special session. They are going to reduce their state income tax, and they're going to pass other tax relief for the people of their state. This is all directed towards relieving the pressure of inflation that working families are under in Idaho and across the country. So it turns out that that is not happening in Washington. What Jason is focusing on is, again, this pattern of where red states and blue states are, even California, are providing some kind of tax relief to the people in their states. And Washington is the outlier. It's the only one that's not doing that. Jason also put out new information tracking the state income tax legal challenge that's happening in our courts. We have won at the trial level and at the Superior Court level. It is now going to the state Supreme Court. Jason has new data showing that income tax bills and ballot initiatives combined have been introduced more than 50 times in Washington state over recent decades, and that proposal was defeated every single time. So this is information that attorneys are using in court to show that the people of Washington state do not want a state income tax, in addition to the technical argument regarding it being unconstitutional under our state constitution. They're making that argument too. Both of those sets of facts come from research that Jason has done, and he's going to continue to contribute to that. And then the other issue that we've been commenting on in the media and providing some analysis is this national proposal that President Biden has put out with a stroke of a pen, to enact loan forgiveness of college loans all across the board. First of all, there's a question as to whether he has the legal authority to do that, just as the chief executive of the federal government. We figure that's a question that's going to be settled in the federal courts. We're not getting involved in that. But what we are pointing out from a policy point of view, that there are two problems with this proposal. Number one, it's not loan forgiveness. The loans don't go away. They still are going to be paid by the federal government to the universities that charge the tuition in the first place. And the second problem with this proposal is the obvious one, is that it's unfair. So now working people across in Washington state and across the United States who do not have a college degree will be required to pay off the loans of people who did go to college. This is also upsetting to people like myself, okay, who paid their way through college, graduated with no debt, and were responsible and paid the full tuition or whatever it was that the college was proposing. It's also not fair to people who did take out federal loans, understanding that they were voluntarily taking on this obligation and then making their payments on time and paying off their loans. So people who work hard and play by the rules are finding that other people are getting a better deal than they got. And we just think that that's morally unfair. The other problem it creates is what economists call moral hazard, which is it changes human behavior in the future. And it will do that again in two ways. One is colleges and universities will have every incentive to, quote, not leave money on the table. When they see that the federal government is in the habit of paying off these loans, they will just simply raise their tuition in order to collect more money through that process. And the second problem it has going forward is that people who pay off their loans feel like they're chumps. Okay, why would you pay back a loan when it's clear that the federal government will step in at some point and kind of bail you out, or the loan will go away? And so those are the two kind of ethical and moral problems that the leadership of President Biden is creating for our country. Instead of teaching people to work hard, play by the rules, keep your promises, pay your debts, have a plan for your life, higher income means you'll be able to pay off loans, he's disrupting that and basically telling people that they can use alternatives to kind of get around those things. And then the last data point on this issue that I thought was intriguing, I was reading about this morning, is this loan forgiveness policy vastly disproportionately benefits, guess who? People who work in Washington, D.C. Congressional staffers, political appointees in the agencies have a disproportionately higher level of college debt than virtually everybody else. I know this because I worked in Washington, D.C., so I saw that. It was very common to see people who had worked on Capitol Hill for years comment, oh, I have to make my college loan payment. So the very people who are administrating this and supporting it from the nation's capital will disproportionately benefit from this policy. And that creates another problem of leadership in our country. So we'll continue to follow that issue and see how it comes out. Looking ahead, we are planning on new publications related to issues that are being debated in the current election cycle. We are proposing agenda for reform, kitchen table issues that people are talking about across the state that are relevant to the public debate in the next couple of months as we lead up to the election. We do not get involved in campaigning or politics. That's not our business, but we very much promote positive ideas that will benefit everybody in the state. And the great thing about evidence-based data that shows good policy ideas is that they are completely bipartisan. So these are fact-based, and they can be promoted by Democrats, Republicans, or independents, or anyone in between. But what we're trying to provide is basic information that everybody can agree on will benefit the people of our state and contribute to the debate that way. We'll be doing a series of research publications that contribute to that. And then those ideas, after the election is over, and we have a new legislature coming in January, we'll pull those all together in a single study that will be sent to the legislature to help them work on what their agendas, what the bills are going into 2023 to, again, improve economic outcomes for everybody in our state, increase opportunity, fight inflation, and propose reforms that will give us better government ideas similar to those that are being enjoyed by people who live in other states. We really feel that Washington needs to catch up with important reforms in education, healthcare, economics, job opportunities, tax reform that we see being enacted in other states, even states being governed by Democrats, which are being blocked or held back here And next session is an opportunity to move some of those ideas forward. Lastly, as usual, we're excited about the in-person events that we've been holding. We had a great event at Chateau Lille in Woodinville with our top Pillar Society members. It was a lot of fun. We had good speakers. And in addition, our fall dinners are coming up. First, one in Bellevue and one in Spokane. Again, we have great speakers for those. Those tickets are on sale now, and table sponsorships. And by the way, as in past years, those events will sell out. So check our website to see what the dates are and how you can register if you're interested in going. But again, we're looking forward to 2 great dinners. These are statewide events. They're well attended. And after COVID restrictions, these will be fully in-person events. And again, will be a lot of fun. And again, our staff was joking that even when the formal event is over, the after party and reception that goes on after that is even more fun. People stay and there's a lot of social interaction. So that's our update for now. And I will be back with more information in the future. Thank you.